I kissed the rude quarterback in the shower and we managed to win the playoff game. What started off as an argument turned into something more. Before I knew it, my lips were on Gavin Rhodes, Kevin's jerk of an older brother and the quarterback of the football team. Gavin pulled away, his large blue eyes staring back at me with the same bit of surprise. Gavin, don't, just leave me alone. Without another word, he turned around and raced out of the shower. I pondered how I got here, especially since up to this point, I thought Gavin hated me. Flashback starts. I joined the football team just a month ago. My skills earned me a scholarship and a place on the main team. Everything seemed awesome until I walked into the gymnasium where the team planned to meet. There, a pair of familiar blue eyes and a scowl greeted me. It was none other than Gavin Rhodes. His icy glare followed me as I walked inside. I tried not to let it get to me, so I flashed him a friendly smile. Hey, Gavin. Hi. What are you doing here? I'm part of the team, I explained. Didn't the coach tell you that? He scoffed. No, he did not. If you know what's good for you, you'll stay out of my way. I blinked, confused as to why he acted this way. Gavin always treated me like a pest, but I thought we could at least try to be civil with each other. All right, if we plan on playing on the same team, we need to work together, though. We do, but that does not mean I have to talk to you otherwise. Now get the hell out of my sight. Gavin stomped off, leaving me confused. Why did Gavin hate me so much? Already I felt unwelcome. Luckily, the rest of the team was accepting, despite Gavin's rudeness. Cody and a couple of the other players listened to me. Coach Greaves was impressed with how fast I ran the field and immediately put me in as the running back for the game, which of course pissed off Gavin. Whatever, he can be mad about it all he wants to be. Later that day, I finished practice and walked out. Kevin, my best friend and Gavin's brother, sat on the steps and immediately as he saw me, got up. How was practice? Could have been better, Gavin's on the team. Kevin's face fell. Oh yeah, sorry, I never told you, Matt. He joined freshman year, and since then he's been the star quarterback. I see. Guess he never grew out of being cocky as hell then. Kevin shook his head. Nope, that's what makes us different. Gavin's always trying to one-up everyone when I just want everyone to get along. I nodded. That you do. Kevin also wouldn't be caught dead on a football field. The guy likes computer programming more than sports. While I have always hated numbers and math, Kevin's shown me a newfound love for it. We walked together and I told Kevin about Gavin's rudeness. He wouldn't even pass me the ball when I was wide open during our scrimmage. Geez, Kevin said, shaking his head. I'm sorry you have to deal with this. Are you sure you want to stay? I stopped and turned around, nodding. Of course, I just hate that Gavin doesn't treat me with respect. He's always been like that. Try not to let it get to you. I'll do my best, I shrugged. I doubted things would get better. A week later, things got worse between Gavin and me, and the tensions reflected on the team. He refused to pass me the ball or even work with me. It got so bad that at one point I asked him what his problem was with me, and the guy snapped. He got in my face screaming about how I was a failure and didn't deserve to be on the team. It got so bad that Coach Greaves had to step in. All right, you two, break it up. He pushed us each to the side, and I glared at Gavin. Why are you doing this? I asked. Why can't you get along? Because I hate you, he muttered. You're immature, you don't deserve to be on the team, and you refuse to listen to me. I didn't listen because that play you suggested had so many holes. If we ran that during a game, the other team would intercept the ball. He stared at me with a scowl. I met him with the same gaze, frustrated by the way he acted. I didn't know why Gavin treated me so rudely, especially since I hadn't done anything to upset him. I'm gonna take a shower, he muttered, grabbing his stuff and walking away. The coach sighed, shaking his head. All right, that's enough for today. I doubt we'll get anything done. I didn't think so either. I waited for a bit to calm down and hoped that Gavin and I didn't run into each other. As I made my way to the shower room, I heard the water on. It must be a player who left shortly before me. I changed out of my dirty uniform and grabbed a towel, wrapping it around myself. When I approached the shower room, the scene cleared and I immediately froze. Gavin! He turned, snarling in anger. What the hell are you doing here, Matt? I'm taking a shower? I'm allowed to do that too. I don't know why you're still here. Because I wanted to stay, now leave me alone. Logical me knew better than to upset him, but at this point, I was tired of the constant runaround. I stepped forward and headed to the shower next to him. Matt, what are you... Gavin, I began, keeping as calm of a voice as I could. What's going on? Nothing is, you're just really annoying. It isn't just that, is it? And why do you care? I don't want this constant fighting. I'm tired of it, so tell me what's going on. He stood there, not saying a word, so much for getting him to listen. Sighing as I walked to the other shower to turn it on when I felt something touch my hand. Before I could process what happened, a pair of lips were on mine. Gavin's lips were soft and nice to touch. I leaned into the kiss. He responded back, and for a second I lost myself in the kiss. Wait, why is he doing this? Why would Gavin, of all people, kiss me? My thoughts raced, confused as to what it meant. As quickly as it happened, the soft plush touch disappeared. Gavin pulled away, his large blue eyes staring back at me with the same bit of surprise. Gavin, Don't. Just leave me alone. Without another word, he turned around and raced out of the shower. I pondered how I got here, especially since up to this point I thought Gavin hated me. Flashback ends. A week later. Gavin ignored me even more, but at least he wasn't arguing with me. That was a blessing in itself. Still, the unresolved tension grew stronger. I needed to do something about this. Kevin didn't know for a good reason. He was Gavin's brother, and while accepting of gay people, it would weird him out if he found out I kissed his brother. This was a mess I needed to fix myself as soon as I could. After practice one day, I headed to the shower shortly after Gavin did. Instead of following him in, I waited. All the other players were gone by the time he walked out. His eyes widened the second he saw me. Matt, what are you doing here? I sighed, taking a step forward. Now is a good time as ever. Gavin, I'm tired of going on like this. I want to know what that kiss meant. It meant nothing, he grumbled. That's a lie and you know it. He stiffened, eventually meeting my gaze. I smiled, trying everything I could to ease the tense air. I thought you hated me, Gavin, yet you kissed me back there. There's something more, right? I didn't mean anything by it, he said, looking away. However, he didn't deny it, and with his uneasy, darting glance, I knew there was more to it. The tension reverberated through the air, thickening even more. I refused to believe him, though. I saw how he acted the last couple of days. Gavin acted like he hated me, but when our hands brushed, the sparks were there. I caught Gavin reddening slightly, too, like he enjoyed it because he was scared to pursue it. I understood where he was coming from. This was all new to me, but the more I tried to hate him, the harder it was to pull away. I stepped towards him, our bodies getting closer, until both of our chests brushed against each other. Gavin didn't pull away, but he didn't mirror my motions. Instead, he stood there, biting his lip as he struggled to accept these feelings. That's not the truth either, is it? He looked up, realizing there was no way out of this. Why do you care so much? Because I see it in your eyes, I said, looking up at him. You stare at me on the field, you act like you hate me, but that's not what it looks like when you're looking at me. It was the truth. I know there was something unspoken between us, and I was tired of the constant back and forth. Right now, we either needed to accept these feelings for each other, or just go our separate ways. With a sigh, Gavin nodded. You're right. The truth is, I don't know how to feel. I don't like you, but whenever I'm around you, I want to kiss you. Why is that? I don't know. I always thought I liked girls, but there's something about you. I'm drawn to you, Matt, and it's weird. I smiled. Yeah, there's something about you as well, but maybe that's why we work well together. It's new for us, and if you want to take it slow, we can. I waited for Gavin to say something. He nodded slowly, moving his head down and his lips mere centimeters from mine. Yeah, you're right. This is new, but I don't totally hate it. We closed the distance and shared another kiss. This time, the shock of the action was not the focus, but instead the feelings we had for one another. I deepened the kiss while he pressed me against the wall and continued to kiss me passionately. It was heavenly. Gavin was such a good kisser, and he immediately drove me crazy with desire. After a minute of catching his breath, he pulled away and looked up. That was nice. It was. So, where do you want to go from here? He turned away, flushing with embarrassment. I don't know. Do you want to take things slow? I asked, knowing that moving too fast might scare both of us. Yeah, let's do that, he mumbled, and I smiled. But let's keep our relationship a secret. The last thing I want is the team to find out, and Kevin too. Smart. Letting anyone know about this was playing a dangerous game. Good. I want the same thing. We shared another kiss, which solidified this new development, a secret relationship between Gavin and me. 2 weeks later. The secret relationship with Gavin soon turned into a whirlwind of emotions. Between heated kisses before going to practice and making out in the shower, we both started to learn more about each other. Sometimes when the other players were on the field, Gavin would come up beside me and playfully touch my arm or back without any of them noticing. We also kissed before classes and sometimes before we left to go home and do our homework. I learned a lot about Gavin as we began taking things further. Despite being cocky, he cared about others and really liked studying as well. We both bonded over our love for history and disdain for math. It was also where I learned Gavin had liked me for a while. He admitted that even though he thought I was annoying, I was charming in his eyes too. It warmed my heart to know Gavin didn't really hate me after all. He just had newfound feelings he didn't completely understand. Of course, Kevin almost caught us multiple times. One time, we made out in the locker room when we heard the door open. Quickly, Gavin and I moved away, getting our stuff. Kevin walked in looking at both of us. "There you are. I was wondering where you were." "Oh, hey, Kevin," I stammered. "Sorry, Coach Greaves had something to ask me." "I see. Strange. He left a while ago." "It was before I went to take a shower," I grumbled. "I see. Also, hey, Gavin." "Hi," he said, averting his gaze. "I'll be going." With one small nod, Gavin grabbed his stuff and left. As the door closed, Kevin looked at me curiously. "Hey, is there something going on between Gavin and you? It's a little strange you two are friends now." I looked into his eyes, unable to say the truth, shaking my head. I looked away. "No, nothing is going on." A week later, we continued our secret meetups, but sometimes I caught Cody, one of the running backs, staring at us. After he passed the ball to someone and I caught it, he would watch us with a focused gaze. One day as I left the field, he approached me. He smiled and folded his arms across his chest. "Hey, Matt, wanted to ask you something." "Sure, what is it?" "Is there something going on between Gavin and you?" I froze. Did he know? I thought we were good at hiding it. I shook my head. "No, there's nothing going on." "Good, because it's weird. Gavin's treating you so nicely. We used to work well together until you came around." What was he getting at? I looked past him and took a few steps towards the door. "I have to go. I have homework to do." "Fair. Just remember," grabbed my arm and glared at me. "He's mine. Got it?" Pulled my arm away and brushed it. What the heck was his problem? I quickly ran off, feeling ill at ease and unsure of what to say. Later that day, Gavin and I hung out in his dorm. It was a nice place where we could just be with each other, our bodies brushed together as we worked on homework. "Matt, could you help me with this? I suck at math." I peered over and saw the problem he worked on. Clicking my tongue, I scribbled a couple of notes. "There." Gavin whistled. "I swear it's like you're a math natural. Probably because you hung out with Kevin." I laughed. "No, I'm just good at it. I don't mind helping you." He chuckled. "You help me out with a lot of things." Gavin closed the distance, and we shared another kiss again. Every kiss felt nice. As he pulled away, he sighed. "Kissing you feels so nice. Sometimes it makes me wonder how people would react if I told them about you." "Do you want to?" I asked. Gavin looked down. "I don't know yet. I'm still coming to terms with being into guys and all. Up to this point, I only dated girls. Hell, Amelia and I dated for a bit." I remember that. It was before she started dating the girl she did now. Think of it as a new venture. "I know. I'm just worried about how people might react if I told them." "I like what we have now." I did too. While deep down I wished to get closer. I couldn't complain. "I do as well." We cuddled for the rest of the night. Gavin looked distracted, like there was more he wished to say. If he did come clean, how would people react? It was a question I had too, but I was also afraid to find out. A month later, the playoffs were coming up and tensions grew high among the team, even after practice. Gavin would stomp off stressed out about the match against our rivals. Amelia, one of my friends and the head cheerleader, approached me. She leaned against the fence staring at Gavin. "Hey, is he doing okay?" she asked, pushing a strand of blonde hair back. "I don't know. He seems on edge." "You should talk to him, since I know you two are pretty close," she replied with a wink. I flushed. Amelia was one of my other closer friends. She knew I was gay and accepted me for who I was. I told her about Gavin and me after, and she was over the moon. That evening, I went to Gavin's dorm. When I got there, he opened the door, dressed in only a shirt and some sweatpants. His defined muscles poked through. "Matt, what's the matter?" "Hey, I wanted to see you. Was worried about how you were doing." At first, Gavin didn't respond. After some encouragement, we sat on his bed. There, he told me about how stressed out he was. The playoffs were coming up and talent scouts would be there. I just want to go pro. I don't want to blow this chance. You won't, babe. We'll work together, I reassured. We shared another kiss, and after spending some time together, we walked out. Gavin kissed me goodnight, but then, as I pulled away, I saw a flash of light. Did someone just take a picture of us? The next day, I woke up that morning excited for practice. I texted Gavin, but he didn't respond. Kevin was already in class since he took early morning classes. Strange. Gavin always messaged me good morning. I went to his dorm, but he was gone. I checked the field and locker rooms only to discover at the end of the hall Gavin and Cody talking. Cody grew closer and whispered something to Gavin, and he tensed up. What was going on? I tried to form the right words, but was unable to. In his hands, I saw something small and white, but I could not make it out. My phone beeped, indicating I had 5 minutes to get to class before the professor got mad. With one final look, I left the image of them talking, unable to get out of my head. Later that afternoon, Cody was in the field with Gavin as running back when I got to practice. What was he doing there? I talked to Coach, who explained that Gavin asked for Cody to be his running back. It was then that I learned that I had been canned from the first string. Why? What did I do wrong? And that's when I realized it. Cody must have blackmailed Gavin. He turned to me sneering. I gritted my teeth. I refused to be benched. Not when both Gavin and I agreed we would go to the playoffs together. Anger rushed through me, and I wanted to say something, but I could not. After Cody left, I confronted Gavin, saying I saw them talking. He tried to deny it, but I showed him the picture I took with my phone. Gavin sighed and looked down. He knows, Matt. He told me to convince the coach to bench you, or else he would tell the entire team and the whole school about us. That wasn't good. Still, we could face this together. I thought you wanted to come clean about our relationship. I did, but not like this. I still don't know what I want to do. It hurt hearing those words and knowing he still was torn on being out about his sexuality. Still, Gavin being threatened by Cody didn't sit well with me. I reached out and touched his shoulder, smiling. I'll find a way to stop this. Cody won't get away with this. Gavin shook his head. Don't, Matt. It's just one game. We'll be all right. No, we would not be. I refuse to let Cody have this. Why was Gavin against me calling him out? I shook my head. Gavin, please. I want to help and don't, Matt. Just leave me be for both our sakes. Just drop it and let me win this game. He stormed off and I stood there, confused and hurt. Gavin allowed Cody to do this, pushing me away. I tried to call Gavin, but he ignored my calls. Defeated, I took a shower, pissed as I could be. After that, I went to the entrance of the girls' locker room where Amelia was. She approached, offering me some solace. We went to the cafe near the school and I told her everything, including how Gavin was being blackmailed. She reached out and touched my hand. I have a plan. I'm going to talk to Gavin and tell him to stop wavering with his feelings, but you have to be ready to put it all on the line this next game. I nodded. I want to, Amelia. Good, then you'll have my support. She walked away and I sighed. If there was one person who could convince Gavin to face his feelings, it would be her. A week later. It was the day of the playoffs and everything was going wrong. Gavin made so many incorrect passes and even passed to Cody when he wasn't open. The other team intercepted the ball more times than I could count, and Coach Greaves was pissed. Every time Coach Greaves asked to substitute for me, Gavin would throw a fit, saying that I was holding him back. Yeah, that was an utter lie. At halftime, I watched the cheerleaders do their routine. Amelia left, flashing me a smile as she headed toward the locker rooms. Would this work? I bit my lip as I waited for the answers. Gavin was gone as well, and I waited. Amelia told me about her plan for after her halftime shows when she went to the locker room. It would start with her seeing Gavin walk out of the locker room and pulling to the side. She was going to tell him that she knew about us and that he needed to stop stringing me along. Would this work? Only time will tell. At the point of the third quarter, nothing changed. They were still tied, but then Coach Greaves approached me and gestured to the field. Matt Rogers, you're in. I was taken aback. Amelia's plan worked. I walked onto the field and saw Gavin looking at me. When I approached, he gestured, bringing me closer. Good, you listened. What's going on, Gavin? He smiled and looked at the crowd. A little friend told me to stop running away from my feelings, so I decided to do that. I smiled. He was ready to win, and so was I. The game started again, and Gavin and I worked together to make up for all the fumbles and terrible plays in the last 3 quarters. It came down to the wire, and soon with 30 seconds to spare, we had one more play. With this, we could win. I raced down the field and got into one of the few holes the other team's defense had. Gavin raised his arms and threw the football. As it soared through the air, I jumped. I grabbed it and ran down the field like it was the final race of my life. I only stopped when I heard the cheers. The game was over and we won by a single touchdown. The other players ran holding both Gavin and me up. The other team congratulated us too. As everything died down, Gavin grabbed the mic and spoke. "Hello, everyone. There's something I need to get off my chest, to come clean about." The audience stared, curious to hear what Gavin had to say. He turned to me and grabbed my hand. "I love Matt. This is my boyfriend and an incredible man. Without him, I would not be as good of a player as I am today. I want to continue this even after the season is over." Gavin pulled me into his arms and gave me another kiss. The crowd cheered, and while some of the players were shocked, most of them supported us. After the game, Kevin walked down the stairs and looked at us. "Matt, Gavin." We turned and saw him. He folded his arms across his chest, his brown eyes looking at us. "Why didn't you tell me, Matt? You're my best friend." "Because I was worried you wouldn't be happy about it." Kevin nodded. "I know. It's a little weird to think about, but I can tell you two care. As Gavin's brother, I want nothing but the best for him." "As do I, little brother." We each share a hug, and then we got out to celebrate with the team. As we were about to leave, 2 talent scouts approached us, asking if we want to play on the same professional team. Gavin and I instantly agreed. I mean, what could be better than chasing my dreams with the man I loved? Conclusion. It's been 2 years since we shared that kiss, and now Gavin and I play for one of the best professional teams in the league. The chemistry we shared allowed us to go pro. Gavin's support and love helped me become a better player and a better person. The end. Have you ever developed feelings for someone you thought you disliked? Let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching. Consider subscribing to become part of our Rainbow Force. And stay wholesome.